Hey guys, welcome back to the old mill shed. So, we kind of having a rough day up here. Started out great. Got out about first light this morning, about, 6:30 or so. Got my weed eating up next to the road done. Got the mower out, cut the backyard and the front yard around the house. And I said, you know what? I'm making good progress today. I don't really need the bush hog yet, but let's go ahead and get on it. We don't want to get behind. And so I got the area back down there cut, and I was on my last pass. And it's an area I've been over 5 or 6 times already. I reclaimed it last year actually, and I hit a stump about that big around, and I hit it with the edge of the bush hog. So you would think that the blade would have just kicked back. Well, it didn't. And the shear pin, now these are actual shear pins. I don't put hardened bolts in here. I buy the actual shear bolts that are supposed to shear off, and it sheared about halfway, but the gearbox sheared all the way. The gears inside, you can hear them. They're just, it's bad. And I'm not going to even bother opening it up and trying to rebuild it. Brand new gearbox, $150. So, by the time you get into your time of rebuilding it and everything, you get all the parts, you may as well just buy another gearbox. So, I do have one of those coming, But I have another bush hog that came with the 4540. And that one's in a lot better shape than this one. And we're going to cannibalize some of the parts on this one, like the PTO shaft and different things. I'm going to take the blades off of this, and then we're going to take the new bush hog, and new, and we're going to get it ready to run. It needs quite a few things. We're actually going to set up the lift part of it a little differently than this one. I've been wanting to cover that anyway. So, yeah, let's get started. So here's the new cutter. I believe it's the same brand as the old cutter. It's an LS line. You can see this thing's got a few issues. One being it doesn't have any bars going back to pick the back end of the cutter up. It looks like they had this solid piece welded here. Guess he had it welded up here, but it doesn't have a lot of room for it to flex. You can see where it broke off. We're going to fix that. I had to put a old log chain around it just to hold the back end up so I could drag it down here. You can also tell this, it's seized, doesn't have a shroud on it. We need to replace that. I'll probably just put on the old shaft from the other cutter. The blades look to be brand new, or close to it. We do have some issues here with the top link. One thing is we got 2 grease fittings that are non-functioning, and we have this thing, I don't know if it's welded or if it's just jammed up, but this doesn't function up here. The screw up here doesn't function. I'm hoping I can get that freed up. So the first thing we're going to do is, I have the hydraulics locked on the tractor. I want to see if that's functioning or not. Now, we went over that in the overview video. I have it in the lock position for transport. I just lowered my positional control all the way down, and that's sitting up there. So that does function. That's good to know. Let's unlock it. Okay, got to come off a little bit more, I guess. Now I've got the positional control all the way down. And I'm just controlling that with that little knob that I showed you in that first video. So the first test on that little lock, the transport knob, and the speed that it lets the 3-point hitch come down, that works. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this log chain off of here. We're going to get the old PTO shaft off of here, and then we'll get this rigged up support brace off of here, and then we'll start running new supports back. Okay, that turns nice and free. That's good to know. Okay, we got a snap ring here, but the ears appear to be broken off, so I can't use a pair of snap ring pliers to remove it. That PTO shaft feels like it's in pretty good shape. It is seized up where it extends or telescopes. We could probably soak in some PB Blaster or some penetrating oil for a while and get it to come apart and sand it, get it where it'll work again, and then put a new shroud on it if we wanted to. I'm going to look at the prices of everything. If it's like the last PTO shaft I bought, it was actually cheaper to buy a whole brand new PTO shaft than it was just to buy the shroud for one that I already had. This thing's rusted up. We're not going to even try to save it. I've got some 1/4-inch chain here. And what we're going to do, instead of having bars go back, the front of this thing does not have that pivot on it like the old bush hog had. And that's okay, but you've got to have somewhere on the cutter for the back to ride up and down. So if you've got solid bars going back where the top link hooks need to be able to pivot back and forth. We covered this in the first bush hog video. Since I don't have that, I'm going to put chains coming down from here to those little loops in the back, those holes in the back. So the whole thing will ride up and down, and it will go off at an angle, so we don't have to worry about it getting into the PTO as it's turning. Now I've got 10 feet of chain here. I don't know if it's going to be enough or not. I might have to get more. And I'm going to have to take this bolt out so I can put a bolt through there to hold the chain. The chain that I got is 1/4-inch G30 code chain, which is good for about 1,100 pounds. Now this cutter is not going to weigh anywhere near that, and there's going to be 2 of them. So it's not just 1,100 pounds total, it's 1,100 pounds on this leg and 1,100 pounds on this leg. And it definitely does not weigh 2,200 pounds. So from here to here, it's showing 61 inches, but I'm going to have to put some connectors in and I'm going to have to put something back there to adjust the tension so this thing will sit right, so I'm not constantly having to adjust my leveling box. So I think we're good there. And this right here, this is going to be about the same path that the chains are going to take. It'll be like that, huh? So I got that bolt out that's underneath the top link. It came out a lot easier than I thought it would. I was really expecting to have to go get the smoke wrench to get that out of there, but once it broke loose, it came on off. So I'm going to have to run to Alta Vista or Bedford, one of the two, go get some connectors and different things so I can hook the chains up. Hopefully I get back and get it done this afternoon. I'd really like to get some more bush hogging done. Okay, so here we are about an hour and a half later. I went down to True Value. They didn't really have what I needed. Ended up going to Tractor Supply, and so I got a bolt to replace the one we took off of the cutter. And then I got some forged bolts, eye bolts. You want to get the ones that are forged, not the ones that are like just bent around and have that little open area in it. So these will go on here like this. I can just run this through the chain. On the back side, I was looking for the bolts that, well, not really a bolt, but the connector links. It has the pins, and they didn't have any. So I looked for the cold close links. So you just, you close them up and then you brad it over. They didn't have any of those. It was like the first time I've ever been that there wasn't bins full of them. So let's start up here next to the 3-point hitch, and then we'll build it back to the back side. We'll tighten this up more once we get the chain put on. This isn't ideal, I get that, but sometimes you just got to use what you got. Won't go down far enough, of course. I mean, why should it work? Nothing else is. Okay, for the back side over here, I've got these little bolts that should fit through here. Now, honestly, I had bought these for my daughter's swing set. But they're rated for like 1,200 pounds. We'll just stick one through there and put this through the chain, and that'll give me some adjustment to keep everything hanging right, keep the tension the same on both sides. So what I did is I took my machinist scale and I ran each one of the nuts up to 1 inch from the end. Let's put the heavy washers on the outside. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and attach our chain to the back end here. And we'll run it up to that bolt. We'll count the lengths, and then we'll cut both sides the same amount. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to run a chain, run the bolt to the chain on these, nothing fancy. Alright, and I'm going to just cut that link there. We want to count the links down, and we'll cut this side to the same amount. This is where we're at now. We've got both the chains hooked up. It was 46 links in each chain, and I had to tighten up on the back side of that support right there. I had to run it out about a 1/2 inch to get the tension the same on both of these. So all we've got really left to do now is we need to take the drawbar off, pull that out. We need to polish the input shaft up on the gearbox. I'll put the old shear pin back in. They were out, and it is already partially sheared, so it should shear more easy if I were to hit something, but where I'm getting ready to cut is open. I've actually cut it many times. There's nothing there, so I feel safe running it this afternoon. I also got a new snap ring to go on that, and then we will set our height and everything, and hopefully we'll get to cut with it here in about an hour. Whenever you take your PTO shaft off, you don't want to forget to put your snap ring back in. The thing come flying up off of here and ruin your day real quick. Let's not forget to check the oil in our gearbox here. Ooh, okay, yeah, that's full. Now obviously with it getting so late in the day, we're not going to pull the pins out of the blades and weld the nuts on it to make it easier to change the blades out. I looked at the blades, it looked like they're pretty sharp, sharper than the ones on the old cutter. It's getting on late in the day. I really want to run. If I can't run it the way it is sitting right now, I'm probably just going to snatch one off of Emmett, stick on here, and we'll fix this at a later time. I had planned on working on it in a different video anyway. Okay, so here's the top link off of Emmett. We'll get to this one at a later time. So the rest of this video is just, I'm going to start the tractor up. I'm going to get the bush hog as level as I want it. I want to lower the positional control down where I want the bush hog to sit. I will move my little stop up. And then the rest of it's just going to be me bush hogging. Hey guys, so we're ready to roll. hopefully. Hopefully I don't hit nothing else and bust this one too. The overall repair to get the new one running come out to about $68. More than I wanted to pay, obviously. But all in all, I can't really complain too much. I mean, the gearbox for the other one's going to be $150, and I'll have 2 good cutters. Now, we'll need to buy another PTO shaft, and I think they're, let's just say $100 after taxes and shipping and all. So, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. I will set the camera up and video me bush hogging the log yard, the old log yard here, before I go down and hit everything else. So as always, thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, maybe even entertaining. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps the algorithm a lot. We'll see you here next time under the shed.